Hello there, film enthusiasts, and welcome to another edition of Tim and Tom's Film Nights. Tonight we have a real treat for you, folks. It's one of, my personal favorites from recent years, 2010's Tron Legacy, directed by Joseph Kosinski.
Hello, Thomas, please. I think we should mention the title of the film at least once during the introduction. But anyway, I must say that I wasn't exactly expecting much from this one being a sequel to a 1980s cult classic and all.
Oh, you just wait until you see what they were able to do with the visuals. It's absolutely breathtaking. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Tim. What did you think about the storyline?
Well, Tom, I must admit that while the storyline itself wasn't anything groundbreaking, it was well crafted and managed to keep me engaged throughout its runtime. It's a classic father and son reconciliation tale set against a futuristic backdrop of virtual reality and computer-generated worlds. The plot revolves around Sam, played by Garrett Hedlund, who is trying to find his missing father, Kevin Flynn, played by Jeff Bridges, the original Tron himself. The story begins when Sam receives a cryptic message from his dad, leading him to the abandoned Flynn's Arcade and AM into the world of the grid, a vast digital universe where programs like themselves can exist and interact with their creators. From there on out, it's an action-packed adventure filled with light cycles, gladiatorial games, and a sinister plot to take over both the virtual world and the real one. While I typically shy away from science fiction, I must say that Tron Legacy managed to capture my attention right from the start and kept it until the credits rolled. The visuals were truly stunning, especially for a film released in 2010. The combination of CG and practical effects seamlessly merged to create a visually immersive experience. But enough about me, Thomas. What did you think?
Did the storyline manage to captivate your attention as well?
Any particular scenes or moments that stood out for you?
Well, Timothy, I must admit that while the storyline wasn't revolutionary, it did its job of providing a solid foundation for the film's impressive visual and action sequences. However, let me start by saying that I found some of the trivia surrounding Tron Legacy quite fascinating. For instance, did you know that the costumes worn by the characters in the film were actually 2D objects that were projected onto the actors' bodies using a specialized process called volumetric projection? This allowed for a seamless blending of the digital world with the real, creating a truly unique and, immersive visual experience. Another interesting tidbit is that the iconic light cycles from the original Tron made a triumphant return in this installment, but with a twist. Instead of being confined to flat tracks like in the 80s movie, they now race through three-dimensional environments, adding a whole new level of excitement and thrill to the already adrenaline-pumping sequences. Now, I also wanted to mention that the casting choices for some of the supporting roles were quite unexpected but incredibly fitting. For example, Michael Sheen plays the role of the sinister program named Zeus, who is essentially a digital version of German mathematician and scientist Kurt Gödel. And who better to portray the genius behind the concept of time travel than our very own British icon, Sir Patrick Stewart, as the voice of the wise and powerful program named Tron. So, Timothy, what do you think? Were you impressed by any of these trivia tidbits I've mentioned? Did they make you appreciate the film's technical achievements even more?
Well, Tom, I must admit that I am impressed by the technical achievements and the casting choices you mentioned. The seamless blending of CG and practical effects truly elevated the film's overall visual appeal. As for the storyline, it was simple yet engaging enough to keep me hooked throughout its runtime. While it didn't necessarily break any new ground in terms of originality, it effectively carried over elements from the 1980s cult classic, while also modernizing them for a contemporary audience. However, I do have one major criticism regarding the film's pace. At times, I felt like the action scenes were slightly overwhelming, detracting from the emotional depth of the father-son relationship that was supposed to be at the heart of the story. While the visual spectacle was indeed breathtaking, it seemed to have come at the expense of character development and more thoughtful exploration of themes such as legacy, redemption, and the nature of reality itself. But let's not dwell on the negatives too much. Tron Legacy is still a visually stunning film that offers audiences an immersive experience unlike anything they've seen before. And with a sequel rumored to be in the works, there's never been a better time for newcomers to the franchise to catch up on what they've missed and join us for the ride into the grid. So, Thomas, as someone who typically enjoys science fiction, did you find Tron Legacy to be a satisfying continuation of the Tron franchise?
Well, Tim, as someone who's been a fan of science fiction since I first watched 2001, A Space Odyssey at the ripe old age of 13, I must say that Tron Legacy certainly lived up to my high expectations. The casting choices for the main roles were spot on, with Jeff Bridges reprising his role as Kevin Flynn with ease, capturing both the character's technological genius and relatable human flaws. As for Garrett Hedlund, who portrayed his son, Sam, I must admit that he brought a much Olivia Wilde played the role of Quorra, a beautifully enigmatic computer program who serves as both guide and confidant to Sam throughout his journey into the digital world. Her performance was subtle yet captivating, with her expressive eyes and graceful movements adding depth to an otherwise futuristic tale. And let's not forget about the villain of the story, played by the always charismatic and menacingly charming Michael Sheen as the sinister program named Zeus. His cold-blooded yet calculating demeanor perfectly complemented the film's darker undertone. But perhaps one performance that truly stood out for me was that of the late, great Sir Patrick Stewart, who lent his iconic and booming voice to the role of Tron. His presence elevated the character from a mere supporting character to an almost mythical figure within the world of the grid, imbuing it with a sense of reverence and wonder that was palpable even through the screen. So, Timothy, what about you? Did any particular performance or character arc stand out for you in Tron Legacy? Who do you think nailed their role, and why?
Well, Tom, as someone who has been a film enthusiast for quite some time now, I must admit that Tron Legacy had a significant impact on the science fiction genre. Its groundbreaking visuals and seamless blending of CG with practical effects paved the way for future blockbusters like Christopher Nolan's Inception and even James Cameron's Avatar. But let's not dwell too much on the obvious influences, shall we? Tron Legacy also had a more subtle yet equally profound impact on the world of television. The futuristic cityscapes, neon-lit environments, and high-octane action sequences could be seen in shows like Blade Runner, Black Lotus, and even the cult classic anime series Cowboy Bebop. And let's not forget about the iconic fashion trends that followed the film's release, from the signature neon green leather jacket worn by the character of Quorra to the futuristic meets retro look sported by the film's female leads. Tron Legacy was a veritable fashionista's paradise, inspiring countless imitators and influencers alike. So, Thomas, in conclusion, while Tron Legacy may not have revolutionized the science fiction genre, it certainly elevated it to new heights. Its groundbreaking visuals, captivating storyline, and iconic fashion statements continue to inspire filmmakers and fashion enthusiasts alike. And as for its impact on the world of television, well, let's just say that we can expect to see more neon-lit futuristic cityscapes and high-octane action sequences in the years to come. So what do you think? Are there any other films or TV shows that you think were heavily influenced by Tron Legacy? Or maybe even any aspects of real-world technology that owe a debt of gratitude to the film's innovative vision of the future?
Well, Timothy, as someone who has been fortunate enough to witness the birth of modern CG and special effects in filmmaking. I can confidently say that Tron Legacy stands tall among its peers. Its groundbreaking visuals, captivating storyline, and iconic characters have left an indelible mark on the cinematic landscape. While it may not be everyone's cup of tea, there's no denying that this film pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible at the time, paving the way for future blockbusters like Avengers, Age of Ultron, and even influencing television shows such as Westworld. And let's not forget about its impact on fashion, inspiring a whole new generation of tech-savvy style icons. So, my final thoughts on Tron Legacy? It is a visual masterpiece that seamlessly blends science fiction with action and adventure. While it may have some shortcomings in terms of character development and storytelling pace, it more than makes up for it with its breathtaking visuals and iconic performances. So, if you're looking for a mind-bending trip into the digital world, I highly recommend giving Tron Legacy a watch. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below.
Well said, Thomas. Tron Legacy was indeed top game changer in terms of visual effects and storytelling. Its impact on fashion, cinema, and even television cannot be underestimated. While it may have its flaws, as every film does, the sheer scale and innovation that went into making this movie are truly commendable. In conclusion, Tron Legacy is a must-watch for fans of science fiction, action movies, or anyone who simply appreciates groundbreaking cinema. The visuals are still stunning to this day, and the performances by the talented cast, led by Jeff Bridges and Garrett Hedlund, are memorable indeed. So, do yourself a favor and go watch Tron Legacy right now. And while you're at it, leave us a comment, subscribe to our channel, and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this discussion. We love hearing from you, our dearest film enthusiasts.